Sky Sports are reporting that Dermot Desmond is set to hold crunch talks with both manager candidates this week, and a decision could finally be close. We have also got a transfer miss that speaks volumes about where Celtic are right now, a former Celtic Academy player heading to a rival, a major plan emerging around Shaun Maloney's future role at the club, and an update on the O'Neill and Keane situation from this morning. Massive few days ahead. Let's get into it. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Calvin Miller is set to join Hearts after the Edinburgh club moved decisively to seal a deal with Falkirk for the former Celtic Academy winger, with the two clubs now believed to be in advanced negotiations and a deal potentially just 48 hours away from being confirmed. Miller's story over the past few years has been one of genuine redemption. He left Celtic without ever really nailing down a place in the first team, and it looked for a time like his career might plateau in the lower leagues. Instead, he became one of the most important players in Falkirk's back-to-back promotion runs before helping them establish themselves back in the Premiership with a top 6 finish in their first season back at the top level. His numbers this past campaign told the story clearly. 9 goals and 11 assists across all competitions from the left wing, and consistent performances that made him one of the most talked about players outside the old firm. Celtic was strongly linked with a move for Miller in January, with journalist Robert Grieve insisting at the time that the interest was genuine rather than just speculation. But the manager vacancy has left Celtic frozen. While O'Neill and Robbie Keane are being considered for the role, no signings are being pushed through, and that indecision is now costing the club in the transfer market. Hearts have moved, agreed terms, and are closing in on a deal. Another opportunity has slipped through Celtic's fingers while the board continue to deliberate. Now, for the main story, as Sky Sports have broken the news that Dermot Desmond is set to hold direct talks with both Martin O'Neill and Robbie Keane this week, as Celtic's managerial process enters what looks like a decisive stage. According to the report, the club's principal shareholder is expected to meet with both men separately as the discussions around who will lead Celtic next season move closer to a conclusion. Keane is understood to have been due to meet Desmond last night after recently leaving Ferencváros and becoming a free agent, while O'Neill's talks are also expected to take place this week. O'Neill guided Celtic to one of the most remarkable domestic doubles in recent memory. He returned to steady the ship following Wilfried Nancy's departure and overseen a stunning turnaround, winning all 5 post-split league fixtures to clinch the title before lifting the Scottish Cup against Dunfermline at Hampden. That success has left him firmly in the conversation, and according to the report, the club's hierarchy would be willing to continue with O'Neill if he wants the role and terms can be agreed. Even if he does not take the permanent position, Sky Sports add that Celtic would like to keep him involved at the club in some capacity. Robbie Keane remains a genuine rival candidate. The former Ireland international resigned from Ferencváros last week and is now free to take on a new role. His links to Celtic have been building for months, and with Desmond due to meet him directly, this is now very much a live race between the two. The waiting has gone on long enough. Champions League qualifiers are approaching. The transfer window opens on the 15th of June. A decision is needed and needed soon. In other news, Celtic have missed out on a transfer target they were linked with earlier in the season after Bolton Wanderers confirmed the signing of David Watson from Kilmarnock. Watson is 21 years old and has been one of the standout young midfielders in Scottish football over the past couple of seasons. He came through the Kilmarnock Academy from the age of 7 and went on to make 140 senior appearances for the club, scoring 13 goals in the process. Bolton have moved quickly to sign him ahead of their first championship season after winning promotion through the playoffs, agreeing an undisclosed compensation package with Kilmarnock and handing the player a 3-year deal with an option for a 4th. Celtic had been linked with Watson before Christmas, with reports suggesting the club were monitoring him closely and potentially considering a pre-contract move given that his deal was running down. Whether that interest was ever truly serious or just background noise is hard to know, but the outcome is the same either way. Bolton have acted decisively while Celtic have stood still. It is becoming a pattern. No permanent manager means no transfer strategy, and no transfer strategy means other clubs move first. Watson joins Calvin Miller as another name that was on Celtic's radar and has now gone elsewhere. The clock is ticking. In other news, a fresh plan has emerged around Shaun Maloney's future at Celtic, with reports suggesting the club could offer him a significant new role, regardless of who ends up being appointed as the next permanent manager. According to Sunsport, Celtic's decision makers have a great deal of respect for the work Maloney and Mark Fotheringham put in during O'Neill's time in charge. Together, they helped support O'Neill's return and played a genuine part in shaping the team's performances during the run-in. The report now claims Maloney is being looked at for a potential head of football role as the club begins planning the structure of its football department for the years ahead. That would be a significant development. It would mean Maloney stepping out of a pure coaching role and into something more overarching, with responsibility for the direction of the club's football operations rather than just working alongside the manager on the training pitch. If O'Neill continues as manager, it would give him a trusted and familiar face in a senior position alongside him. If Robbie Keane comes in, the situation becomes more complicated, given Keane's known connections and his likely preference to bring in his own people. Whether Maloney would stay on under Keane in any capacity remains to be seen. What the report does make clear is that Celtic value what Maloney has brought to the club, and they are thinking carefully about how to keep that within the structure moving forward. Lastly, there is a further update this morning on the O'Neill situation, with a report from journalist Stephen McGowan in the Herald shedding more light on exactly where things stand as talks between the two sides continue. According to McGowan, O'Neill is taking his time to carefully consider whether he wants to commit himself fully to the Celtic manager's role on a permanent basis. He is expected to meet Dermot Desmond again this week as discussions continue around the possibility of a 1 or 2 year deal. The report also confirms that Celtic have already held discussions with Robbie Keane following his departure from Ferencvaros, and that Keane remains a genuine alternative candidate rather than just background noise. The key detail from this morning's update is that O'Neill reportedly still leads the race internally, but that uncertainty remains because the decision ultimately lies with him. At 74, taking on a full permanent role at a club preparing for Champions League qualifiers, a major summer rebuild and a new season is a significant commitment. That is a question only he can answer. What makes this all so significant is the wider context. Every day without a decision is a day transfers are not being done, a day other clubs are moving ahead, and a day that pre-season preparation falls further behind. The manager appointment needs to happen this week. Celtic supporters have been patient long enough, and the football clock is not waiting for anyone. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.